my favorites. I love that song. So sitting there tapping and mouthing the words along with you. Yeah, the rest is all unwritten. The whole month is your intuition is your inner architect. Intuition is your inner architect, the builder of your experience, the builder of what is, the inner architect. And today's topic is you're a know-it-all. Exactly. Exactly what I thought. Thanks, ladies. Um, but it turns out it's a really great topic because we all are know-it-alls. But what kept coming to my head, because I listen to a soft rock station, so that means everything I hear is about 2 years old. So, but I listen to it lots. And anyway, Kelly Clarkson's song, Mr. Know-It-All, just kept coming to my head. So here are the lyrics for those of you who don't listen. Mr. Know-It-All, well, you think you know it all, but you don't know a thing at all. Ain't it something, you all, when somebody tells you something about you, think that they know more than you do. So you take it down, another pill to swallow. Mr. Bring Me Down. Well, yeah, like to bring me down, don't you? And I ain't laying down, baby. I ain't going down. Can't anybody tell me how it's going to be. Nobody's going to make a fool out of me. Baby, you should know that I lead, not follow. Oh, you think you know me. Know me. That's why I'm leaving you lonely, because, baby, you don't know a thing about me. You don't know a thing about me. You ain't got the right to tell me when and where to go. No right to tell me. Acting like you own me lately. Yeah, baby, you don't know a thing about me. You don't know a thing about me. So when we are talking about a traditional idea of know-it-all, we are talking about someone like that. Someone who not only knows everything about his or her life, but also can fix yours and sees it as something that needs to be fixed, which is not a spiritual or it's not a correct way to see life. Life doesn't need fixing. It just needs to be revealed as the spiritual truth that it is. There is nothing that needs to be fixed. There is just a spiritual truth that needs to be revealed, and it's calling to be revealed. So we don't want to be that kind of know-it-all, because that kind of know-it-all is a pain in the you-know-what. And the one thing they never know is what a bore they're being. They know everything else except how they're affecting other people. And that is not the know-it-all that we are. What we're saying, know-it-all, as intuition, is the divine life lives in you. God doesn't have to be poured in you. It's a beautiful song, but it's already there. The pouring in is just for our remembrance. It's for us to remember that it's already there. You were born with it. It'll be with you when you make your transition to the next whatever it is. It isn't something you have to be worthy for, work toward. It's just something that is. You already have that divine mind in you. You already know and know that you know. And a person that truly knows from that God place has no need to make other people wrong for their God place of knowing. There's no need. There's no compulsion to correct. So word police, this is a little hint, because sometimes as we're learning the science of mind, as we're learning in classes, and we get an idea and we think, wow, that's really it. Then we want to teach it to everyone, whether they're interested or not. And sometimes that teaching sounds so much like you're not doing it the right way right now, and it's not very welcoming. So the idea really is for us to really see, if we were seeing through God's eyes, hearing through God's ears, through the divine, then we would see the world as the beauty that there is. The poet John Keats said, truth is beauty, beauty, truth. That is all you need know. That's all you know on earth and all you need to know. In other words, and those are both synonyms for God, truth and beauty. All we need to know are the qualities of the divine and to know them in a greater way than we've ever known them before. And that requires that inner getting still and listening through that voice for God within you. Getting quiet and listening. You know, the Quakers have this wonderful practice that they all come in and they sit in silence. I thought about doing that this month, and they thought some of you might just think that's a little bit too far. And then whoever has something to say gets up and says it quietly, and then they all sit in silence again. Because they're trusting that that presence isn't in one person, but is in all. And we teach that. We believe it's true. It is everywhere present. Everything that you need for your life is already known to you at some level. And when I teach this in my classes, people say, well, I don't know. And I say, stop telling yourself that. A part of you already knows. And what part that is the infinite part that has always known. It's been your inner guidance system forever and will continue to be. I had a really interesting time away. I was going to spend the whole time, except for one day, with my mom. And it was working out beautifully because my older sister, who lives in the same city, was going to visit her daughter in Vancouver. And my mom lives in Saskatoon. Those of you who know Canada know that this is not a very big city, and it's pretty quiet, and it's not a big nightlife or anything like that. So it was a time just for me to be with my mom. And I stopped in Calgary. I had a long layover in Calgary, maybe 6 or 7 hours. And so my sister was going to come and meet me and have lunch with me. But some of you know that the Monday before I left on Wednesday morning, her 17-year-old grandson was killed in a car accident. Yeah, it was a horrible tragedy. He was full of life and possibilities, and my sister had seen him recently. He lives 2 provinces over from her. I don't know how well you know Canadian geography, but probably not well. Why would you? So I'll just explain it to you. Bruce, of course, excluded, because any other Canadians I know you know, but my sister lives in the province of Alberta. Her family, her daughter and her grandsons, live in Brandon, Manitoba. So it's Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how the provinces go. And so when I stopped with her, she was a mess. And I helped her just by being. And I helped her make her arrangements for flights, and her stepson and stepdaughter were going with her, and I helped her get a hotel and just those kinds of things. When I hugged her goodbye, I said, I'm so sorry I can't be with you. And she said, I'm sorry too. It was just a little whisper, but it went right into my heart. It was like, you need to be there. No matter what it takes, you need to be there. So I spent all of the 55-minute flight from Calgary to Saskatoon asking myself, well, how can I make this happen? I don't even know how far it is. It's, quite a ways, and they're flying, and I don't really want to get another air ticket. While I was doing that, my older sister, who was in British Columbia, the other one west of Alberta, is sending me texts, which I don't get, of course, because my phone's off, and saying, you need to go to the funeral. Take my car. So I got up Friday. So I visited with my mom all day Thursday, and that deep intuition was just right on, but for both of us. So got in my car, 5 o'clock in the morning, and off I drove 6 hours to Manitoba, found the hotel, found my sister and kids, and went to the funeral, and simply was there. I needed to be there. There was nothing I did. Do you follow me? It wasn't about doing. It was simply about the being. I needed to be there. So I was there. I was with her that night. Then I got up at dark 30 the next day because I told mom that I'd be back, and here's the interesting thing. My mom was so looking forward to seeing me. And she said, go, you need to go. She knew she couldn't go. She's 93 and doesn't travel by car or anything else much anymore, and certainly not a long, nonstop drive like that. So intuition guided me. It guided me to the right place. As I was approaching Brandon, I thought, gosh, I wonder where this hotel is. And I saw stoplights, and there it was. I mean, it was right there, right on the corner. It couldn't even be missed. So I didn't have to look. I was simply guided, simply guided. And thank you for your prayers for her. I asked my class to pray, and I know that you have been, because for my sister, this is a very fragile time for anyone and she didn't raise this daughter. She gave this daughter up for adoption, and they reunited 22 years ago. So there've been connection, but she didn't reconnect with all of the rest of the family. So it was a really interesting experience at the funeral because, the family's all talking to each other, and we're the part of the family that no one knows except Susan, the mom, looks exactly like my sister, so it's obvious they're somehow related. Okay. I'll give you another example that's not nearly as filled with drama and pain, because that was born. I was very sad for my sister when I was with her and really wanted to help and did what I could. My mom's coming 94, and she's doing very well. She's mentally alert. She's actually pretty healthy, way healthier than she was last Christmas when I saw her. She was pretty fragile then. She's gained a lot of strength, but both her hearing and her vision are deteriorating. So she said to me, one of the first things she said was, let's go into the garden, and she has a little walk. She walks around the building in which she lives, and it takes about 15 minutes, and it's pretty because there's a garden she walks through. The first thing she said was, they've put a lock on the gate, so I don't know if I'll be able to open it. And I asked her about that, looked at the lock, and it was just two parallel lines of numbers and then two letters and then numbers and two letters. And I said, but do you know what the code is, Mom? Oh, yeah, she knew the code. She just couldn't see the numbers and letters. So I said, well, why don't you just memorize where they are in space? And she did that. I'm telling you, it was like, I did a little diagram on her computer that she could see what it looked like. And right from that moment on, she opened the gate probably 25 times, sometimes twice in a row when she didn't need to because she was so proud of herself. And it was the compensation for the vision that she can still be empowered. She can still have her own autonomy and her own freedom. And that was really meaningful to me. It was meaningful to me to help her, to support her. And that little twinge of intuition was all I needed. The little twinge that said, is there some way that the skills and talents she does have can help her so she can still do what she does? And yes. So maybe those don't sound like big examples of intuition. I've got some dramatic ones, especially from one of my spiritual path, but I'm not going to go through those again. I researched a few, and I'd just like to share some of these. There's a website that has gathered stories of intuition, and they've got the top 7. I'm going to read 3 of them to you. This one is by a woman named Lucy Rivas. And Lucy says, I drive a 40-passenger bus for a living, and 3 times throughout my 25 years of driving, I have had this amazing occurrence of coming to a dead stop, driving through a green light in the middle of an intersection for no apparent reason. But to watch in amazement as a vehicle who has a red light just drives right by in front of the bus without even slowing down or stopping for their red light. Now, if that's not intuition, I don't know what is. Just thinking about it gives me the chills. Pretty unusual to see a bus stopped in the middle of an intersection when it has a green light. But she was doing the right thing. And this one is about this is just the initials of this person, or MB. And he says, looking for something to do, I signed up for yet another intuition class, and off I went. Billed as an advanced class open to all, the intimate class began. Euphemism for only a couple of students showed up. We all nodded our hellos from cold fold-up metal chairs, irritated but vowing to enjoy. Meditation begun. In rushed a petite Asian woman making no apology for arriving late. In broken English, chattering on in a too loud voice, bad traffic, forgotten wallet, borrow a quarter for the meter, we pay for class. Okay, forgotten wallet, speak slow, please. We wait for her to get the notebook. Maybe was home, room too cold. I was avoiding her eyes, her eye contact, but she got paired with me for a skills practice. Groan. Her first words, I hear name Mauro, M-A-U-R-O, Mauro, and she gave her message. I went white and forgot my irritation with her. Having judged this book by its cover, I felt 2 inches tall. Mauro, an uncommon name for sure, I would later discover is my adopted son's previously unknown birth father. How do these things happen? How did these things happen? And then the last one is by a woman named Marlene Braun, and she said, it's an early sunny morning and I'm sitting in the shade under a tree. My eyes are closed. The sun is surrounding my body as if to be hugging me. At a distance, I hear children playing soccer. Closer to me, I hear the sounds of birds blending with the breeze, touching my face. Suddenly, I am up and on my feet, running towards a child, running after a soccer ball. As I tackle this child, we go rolling down the small hill, landing face down in gravel. As we both pick ourselves up off the ground, we looking at each other, not understanding what had happened. As we look around, other children running in our direction, we see the soccer ball smash in the asphalt as a truck is traveling on its journey. To my surprise, I had kept this child from harm's way of the truck. Yes, I did. Intuition. She didn't even know what she was doing. Tackling a child, I'm sure, would be quite a surprise. Like, really? Okay, well, if you say so, God. This is what Ernest Holmes says. So this is one of the things that he says about intuition. He says, who would know God must be as God, for he inhabits eternity also, finds a dwelling place in his own creation. Standing before the altar of life in the temple of faith, we learn that we are an integral part of the universe, and it would not be complete without us. Let me read that part again. Standing before the altar of life in the temple of faith, we learn that we're an integral part of the universe and that it would not be complete without us. That native faith within, which we call intuition, is the direct impartation of divine wisdom through us. Who can doubt its gentle urges or misunderstand its meaning? So divine wisdom in you means that truly you are a know-it-all. Not in that Kelly Clarkson kind of way of fixing everybody and of being a pain in the something, but rather you are a know-it-all because the thing itself in you knows exactly what is best for you, knows exactly what are the best actions for you to take, the people for you to connect with, the motel you're going to be staying in, knows it all already. So when I was greeted this morning, Amy said, Dr. Heather, you're a know-it-all. And I looked at her, I said, and so are you. So help me with this. I'm going to tell you that you're a know-it-all, and I'm going to, because spiritually you are a know-it-all, a spiritual know-it-all. And you're going to say, thank you, and so are you. Let's try it. You're a know-it-all. And so it is.